Welcome back. We are hearing from the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador that province seeks urgent federal assistance for offshore oil and gas. The concern is that big investors could pull their investments in that sector, and that could add up to tens of billions of dollars over the coming years. Dwight Ball is the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. He's with us now. Thanks for being with us, Premier. It's
great to be here, Amanda.
So let's just start with the outlook for the sector. We know there's pain everywhere. To give us the portrait of what's happening in Newfoundland and Labrador and what you think you need.
Well, before COVID and before the crash of the oil prices, we were looking in Newfoundland and Labrador has a very busy summer in exploration. We had major projects that were being developed. People were working within the oil and gas sector. And what we're seeing now is, of course, a decline in oil prices, which means our royalties and the benefits that come with that, they're gone. And right now we see ourselves without support from Ottawa as not being competitive, with other jurisdictions. And so our message as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians is that you need to look to our province because we check a number of boxes to support investment. We want to be competitive. We are different. And some of the reasons that we are different are simply because of the commitment that we have made with your industries, with our Environmental Industry Association here in Newfoundland and Labrador, with our university as an example. They see the benefit of oil and gas in Newfoundland and Labrador. With that, we've made a commitment to be net zero by 2050. And added to that, we have a very unique type of crude off our shore. It's least carbon intense, has a low carbon footprint. Matter of fact, Iberni itself is 37% less carbon per barrel than the world average. So we have a lot going for us here with the type of natural resource that we have. We're looking for Ottawa to support it.
What's the best form that support could take? And we've seen Ottawa with a number of programs for individual companies, nothing that's really broad sector support. What would you like to see?
Well, it's a good question because what we've seen other jurisdictions that are in similar circumstances to us, they've been supported exploration. We believe right now, in order for us to be competitive, we need an aggressive exploration program to support the investment that has already been committed to here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So first of all, exploration leads to jobs. It leads to opening up what is a choice oil for the world offshore Newfoundland and Labrador. But also we're looking forward to and working with the federal government for tax incentives for the investors here in our province. None of this is new, by the way. We've seen decisions like this in the past. Matter of fact, you could argue that is what opened up the offshore industry right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And Amanda, is not lost on us. If this investment leaves offshore Newfoundland and Labrador, well then what do we replace it? What is the alternative? The only alternative is foreign oil. And I think that Canadians can do better than import oil from countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Venezuela, and other jurisdictions. We should be able to do it right here and create benefits to Newfoundlanders and Labradorians and Canadians.
In our lifetime, sir, the big pension funds in this country, including the CPP, in which we all share, were supposed to invest largely in Canada. They've been released from that. They've gotten bigger. They invest globally and they focus on returns, as they say over and over. But should there be a bit of a return to the thinking that those big tax-funded funds might focus some of their attention more on our energy sector here in Canada?
Well, I think national security should be part of this debate. As Canadians, we should be concerned where our oil is coming from. So if it means investors that take that approach to protect their own economy, protect their own residents, their own citizens, that needs to be a component of that decision making. But in Newfoundland and Labrador, we can guarantee that those returns will be there. We could support the environmental sector, of course, as well, because very rare is it that you would find a resource that adds the benefits that you would see offshore, some of the benefits that I just outlined. So it makes good economic sense. It makes good environmental sense to bring that investment to places like our province.
We've seen the federal government offer up a program to support provincial bonds, and we know that that's been of some assistance out there. Have you felt the difference? In others, does that feel like a good fiscal bulwark for you as you try to go about setting your own budgets?
Well, we needed it at the time, and we, with the Bank of Canada, with the support that they gave us, that we had with them in March, it was important. It was an important aspect of us actually getting the ability to actually even borrow money. That's how tough it is right here in our province, and I think it's disturbing for me as Premier to see all the great assets that we had, the skilled workforce, the natural resources, that we should even be having this discussion. We have the ability here. This is not a bailout that we're looking for from Ottawa. We're just looking for a partner that will work with us to develop those resources and put Newfoundlanders and Labradorians back to work. There's tremendous benefit in this for all of Canada.
Where is Newfoundland and Labrador on its path back to normalcy? I mean, the last time we spoke, I believe you were at a level 4 and that the next level would be down to 3. Are you getting close to being able to move to that alert level?
Yeah, we're about a week away. We've had some very good success with our alert level 4. We've had good success with our alert system in general. We went from 5 to 4, down to 3 next week, and you'll see many of the services that has been closed up for a couple of months, they will be reopening. But we put in a very aggressive plan in place. It has PPE attached to it. It makes sure that the healthcare system can respond to a setback. So it's one that's easy to explain for those that that live in our province right now. So life in Newfoundland and Labrador with COVID is all part of this alert system. We will move to level 3 now as of next Monday.
What kind of response have you seen in terms of the businesses and their path to reopening? Have they been fairly quick and able to the point that they are able to at this stage? Have they been able to reopen?
Of course, a lot of businesses, they want to get back in business. That's what they do. They provide services, to people in our province, and we want to work with them. However, what we're trying to prevent is a situation where we get an outbreak and we have to go back, because we could have to go back from alert level 3 to 4. That would be regressive. That is something that we're trying to prevent. So we're working very closely with our business community as we move into alert level 3.
And just, Premier, in terms of provinces nearby, we know New Brunswick has had a bit of a setback in its own kind of path to ridding itself. The intensity of border closures is something I know every province is going to have to figure out for themselves. Where are you in opening the borders and how people can flow freely across?
It's good, because we get asked this question quite a bit. As Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, Amanda, you would know that this is a province that we love to see people come to visit. Matter of fact, we want them to come to visit. But right now, by our very nature, we struggle with the fact that our borders are not quite as open as we would like them to be. You can get into our province, but we go through a process to be able to do that. So right now, our focus is about how we actually travel around Newfoundland and Labrador safely first. And then once we get into a situation we could do that with safety, then we'll look at making sure that our borders, or then we'll look at the opportunity of opening our borders a little bit more. But first and foremost, let's be able to travel around our own province safely first, then we'll open the doors to the rest of the country. That is where we want to be, but we're not quite there yet.
And then I guess in keeping with that, only about 30 seconds here, but if you were to weigh in on the U.S. border, would you say we're ready to get to reopening it, or that you would want us to hold off?
Well, there's a lot of things today, and I think the United States of America, that we don't like. And one of the things that we want to protect our province from, our country from, is the fact that, we would see COVID come into Canada from a traveler. Right now, our borders would suggest that if it's to come into Newfoundland and Labrador, in all likelihood, it would be from a traveler. So we're very cautious of that, and we want to work very, very closely with the national government, with the federal government on this. Right now, we're suggesting that they stay closed.
Dwight Ball, it's great to have you with us. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Amanda.
Dwight Ball is the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador.